What's up, everyone? This is the Political Brown Kid here, bringing to you another Hollywood in black and white. And actually, I didn't even have plans on reviewing this movie. Wasn't even thinking about it. The movie is, if you haven't seen from the title, it is The Woman King. Honestly, had no idea or intention on reviewing it, but it just came out on Netflix today, this evening, and today is February 17th. But this video will probably be published later than that. And this movie just actually astounded me. It astounded me so much that I had to do a Hollywood in black and white on it. So, spoiler alert, you're going to either hear some spoiler alerts from this content. So, if you don't want to hear what the movie's about, I'm trying not to go into detail, but I am going to give some specifics. Then don't listen to it, but I hope you do, because I'm not going to go into detail about it. The one thing about me, I'll state this up front. I am a very analytical person. I do that on my job. That's what I do all day long. I do it in my personal life. I'm very good at analyzing situations. I'm very good at analyzing people and situations. Sometimes, can I overanalyze things? Possibly, yes. But I'm mostly never wrong on this type stuff, especially when it comes to these movies and seeing what they're doing. Let me first state this, because I think this is going to be very important, and this is going to set the premise for the path that I'm going to go down when I'm going to talk about this movie and what I see so wrong with it. Spoiler alert. The movie was written by, I looked at the credits. Now, this is what Netflix has down as credits when you click on their credit thing. It was written by Maria Bello, who's a white female. It was also written by Dana Stevens, who's also another white female. So you have The Woman King. The Woman King, based on true events, supposedly, and I'm assuming loosely based, written by two white females. And it was directed by Gina Bryce, or Gina Prince Bythewood. I hope I said her name correctly. Who is a black female. Looks to be probably a black female who's probably a little diluted as far as ancestrally, but still black female nonetheless. She's a sister. But I'm bringing that point up is because sometimes when you're diluted, you have, as Dr. Umar Johnson says, and I totally agree with him because I even said it myself. I took the same position even before I heard Dr. Umar say it. When you come from a diluted background, when you come from a parentage where you're a Nubian that has European lineage, you have some conflict and or confusion about yourself, because you're not going to want to disrespect your Caucasian half, but you're going to also want to be a part of the black half. So you have some confusion there. But Gina is married to a brother, which thankfully she's married to a brother, because you don't see that these days. So getting into the reason why I'm going to point out these individuals is because the two writers, you wrote the script. So you plugged in and input certain things into the script. And for a director, you're directing the movie. So you're directing and kind of establishing, or you could push back on certain things that's in the script. But you're setting the scene up. When you watch this movie, and I get it, the problem that I'm having today is that, and I get it, black females need to have their shine. But if you look at it, it has become where black females have taken the feminist movement and they have totally separated themselves from the black male. And they're really actually pushing back on the black male and saying, you have oppressed us too. You're just as bad as the white man. And I'm kind of like, what? I don't understand where this type of behavior is coming from. I'm going to be honest with you. They are celebrating themselves like black women are doing this and black men aren't doing anything. You know, you can see it in politics. Black women are saying we're holding down the liberal party. And when anytime something fails, like when the elections fail in Georgia, black women are even blaming black men. You black men aren't doing nothing. Or they'll say black women are holding everything down and we deserve to be uplifted. And they're not thinking about the black man. The only time they think about the black man is when he's a victim. You know, when they want to look at us from the penal system perspective, they want to look at us as a victim. And they're doing it now in movies. And Dana Stevens and Maria Bello are the primary culprits, these two white females of this movie. When you watch this movie, and the movie's basically about it's showcasing a black female warrior division, similar to the female fighters in the Black Panther, to his security guards. So you have this elite warrior fighting group of all females, and it's focusing on them. The problem that I have with this movie is kind of several. Well, first, let me just start off with this. Some things was just kind of like I was baffled by, I was astounded by it because I didn't know that Africans invented spandex shorts. Literally, in this movie, when you see them doing the fight scenes and running and stuff, they literally have on biker shorts underneath their little skirts. And I guess they didn't want their publics, privates all out in the streets. But it's kind of like there could have been a better way to do that. And then the guy from the new Star Wars series, the latest ones, that the horrible ones, the Rise of Skywalker and all those, he's playing the king, and he has a Ready for the World Jerry curl. And it's just kind of like, really? I'm not trying to say his hair had need to be beat up, like, because see, there was two extremes. You see some of the men in the movie, most of the men that was in the movie had Kevin Durant type beads going on. And then here's the king, he got the Jerry curl. So it's just kind of like, well, why can't a brother just have some natural hair? But again, that's just me nitpicking. But when you look at this movie, the first thing that jumps out at you is the lead character. They focus on this young female, and she is fine. But we're gonna talk about appearance in this movie later. I know you women are gonna get mad at me, but she is a gorgeous young female in African. I think her name is. I looked up her name in Mbidi Thuso Mbidi. Beautiful young female, but she's playing this young girl, and her father immediately tries to sell her off to some 40-year-old man, and the girl, I guess, kind of rejects him. He asks her a question. She doesn't respond, and he immediately slaps her right in front of her father and says, you're not going to answer. When your husband talks to you, you answer. So they're setting the tone again. This is written by the two white females. So I'm assuming that you wrote this into the movie, or Gina directed it and wanted it into the movie, as if black men were just so antagonistic towards black women. Like, you're just totally oppressed. And it's like, again, I'm trying to set the scene that in movies, they don't show black people in healthy, loving black relationships. And here's a black movie, and all they want to show is that these black women, these African women, were just so oppressed by black men. He slaps her. Her father does nothing, so I guess her father condones it. Like, yeah, you're supposed to submit to your man. And does submission mean he beating the hell out of her? So you have that one instance. You have even the king, again played by the brother that played in the Star Wars movies, the new ones, the later series. Somebody says to him, well, your wife made a statement. She said that she wanted you to do this. And so the king said, well, I didn't direct her to speak for me, and I will discipline her later. So, so they kind of set in little scenes here and there that show you that, that just black men in Africa and black men, period, are just controlling, dominating, and they're just beating of their wives, and they're just totally mistreat and subjugate black women. Even Viola Davis's character, and you can say she's the co-lead along with that girl, Thuso. Her character, she's, just spoiler alert, they show that she was raped. They have flashbacks and that she was raped by someone from another tribe. So they show that, that he raped her. So again, the movie just shows the black men in Africa raping the women, smacking the women, and basically telling them, speak only when to be spoken to. And it's just a bunch of subjugation when the women interact with the men. But for the most part, this movie is devoid of black men. The black men, really, you see the king speaking, and that's it. And then also, too, let me say this, the other black man that you do see, like, as soon as this movie starts, and again, written by two white females and directed by a black female, as soon as the movie starts, probably the first 10 minutes or first 5 minutes, the first character that you see, the first black male character that you see, or one of the first, is a gay African advisor. And it's like, really? Even back in, what, I don't know, the colonization times, 1400, 1300? It's like we always have to plug in a homosexual. And again, the homosexual agenda. And again, I have nothing against homosexuals, but it is, why is it that we have to just rewrite history and just start plugging people in? We don't know what was going on during that time. How come you just can't have a movie devoid of something? And again, it's the black man that they want to make a homosexual. I'm telling you, when I watch TV, I watch it through a different lens. And I'm going to say that right now. I've gotten to the point now where TV is just not something that I could, there are very few shows that I can just sit back and enjoy for entertainment. A lot of times when you just start watching TV, these little subtle images that other people will let slide past, it's just, they're just so obvious with it because it's the same repeating pattern. And as if you listening to each of my Hollywood in black and white, you'll see I'm repeating the same thing. It's just different shows. So again, you have a homosexual black male walking around, or very feminine. He is, if he's not homosexual, they don't show him engaging in activity, but he is very, very feminine. And he gives off the vibe of a feminine or homosexual. And that's what they want you to think. So we're nothing but wife beaters, rapists, just antagonistic with black women, and we're homosexuals. And that's what you get when you start watching this movie. So those are the first nitpicks that I have with this movie. The other nitpick that I have with this movie, and I'm going to say this, and I know people are going to get mad with me when I say this, is the appearance of the individuals in the movie. And let me set the scene when I say this. And not even just the appearance of the individuals, but we don't glamorize African lifestyles. When we show Africans, it's always from almost a primitive perspective. In contrast to when we show other civilizations, like even with the Mayans, they'll show like a wonderful civilization when you show the Mayans. When Asians, you show wonderful civilizations. Even Indians, like when back in the day, they'll show wonderful civilizations, beautiful built up temples and palaces. And of course, with Europeans, they do it. When you watch European movie like The 300, if anybody's ever seen the movie 300, Google it, look it up if you haven't. They show those, I don't even know, were they Greeks or Romans or whatever the hell they were. I have no idea, but it was back during that time. When they show those people, they live in elegant, beautiful palaces. The scene is set, the ivy's growing. They've got jasmine vines, they've got clematis vines, and everything is well manicured. The buildings are pristine, the cobblestone walkways. The people are dressed in their Greek or Roman garb, and it's glimmering and shining. The outfits are wonderful. They look regal and royal. And in the movie 300, this is about the white civilization. This is actually, they based this kind of on supposedly actual true events about the 300 soldiers who held down and you know, fought against I don't even know who these people were, but these white people wars really don't even interest me. But I did watch the show. But even when you look at the men there, they had painted on abs. Like the men are just rock hard, solid with painted on abs. They look painted on because I said ain't nobody got no abs like that. And these men are well toned. They're well built. They're built like baby Arnold Schwarzeneggers, and they're running around and they look fantastic as far as from a physique perspective. The women look fantastic. The women, and I'm going to speak, and I know you women are about to get mad at me here because I'm about to inject a reference to Kevin Samuels. And one of the things that I hear in his videos is, and I don't agree with everything Kevin Samuels says, so let's make that clear. But the one thing that Kevin Samuels says is that what men want is fit, feminine, cooperative. And when you watch the 300, the women that you do see, you'll see, number one, you'll see loving relationship. The man is with the woman. You see a nuclear family, a man, woman, child, husband, wife, child. And the woman or women in those shows are fit, feminine, and cooperative. When you Now let's look at a Asian comparison. When you see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and Michelle Yeoh, Z Zhang or Zhang Ziyi, whatever, I think that's her name. When you look at those women, they're fit, they're feminine, and they're cooperative with men. They're fighting like hell. When you watch Michelle Royale, she's doing the hell out of some kung fu. When you watch Zhang Ziyi, she's doing out of some kung fu. She's even fighting in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Spoiler alert: when she's fighting with the guy that loves her and kidnaps her, and then she falls in love with him. But she cooperates. In the initial, she pushes back on him, but then she falls in love, and she's cooperative, and she's demure, and she's feminine, and she's fit. Michelle Yao, she's in love with I forget is it Chow Yun Fat? I think that's his name. I may be wrong on the lead character, but she's a hell of a fighter, but she's fit, feminine, and cooperative. When you look at Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, when you look at movies like House of the Flying Daggers, and you look at those even newly created martial arts Asian movies, the scenery's beautiful. The trees and the leaves are like yellows and green. They're colors and hue. If you're watching these shows in 4K or high definition, it pops on the screen. It looks fantastic visually, and they show you fit, feminine, and cooperative women. And then you get to the Warrior King, and none of these women want a man. They exclude themselves. They have their own little village where no men are allowed to come in. These women have taken a vow that they will never be with a man, and they're very aggressive towards the men in the village, and they have an antagonistic relationship with these men because these men were rapists. They were subjugating, wanting to dominate over them, and they just didn't cooperate with them. And you didn't see not one man in the last fighting scene. And I'll give a spoiler alert: when Thuso's character is kidnapped and Viola Davis wants to get her back, only one man went with that all woman tribe to fight to get him back. You saw no cooperation between the men and the women in their own tribe. It was a bunch of antagonism between the characters. And then the appearance of the women, and that's where I was going. Again, I'm going to say this, and I think Viola Davis is a wonderful looking woman. She's a nice looking woman. But a lot of movies downplay her looks on purpose. They did it in The Help. I didn't. I used to always think Viola Davis didn't look nice, and if Viola's watching this, I'm apologizing, but I did because they dress you down. But then there were certain scenes in The Woman King where she looked nice, but for the most part, they keep her looking rugged, dudeish, and to be honest with you, she's not really fit. She's not fit in this movie. She's not feminine, and she's not cooperative. And then half of the time, when she did get her hair done, or when she kind of tried to look her little decent way, and that's mostly when she was in that pool, sitting in the bathing water, that's the only time when she really looked decent. And even the other character I'm not going to give her background, the character Thuso played, she looked a mess in the beginning. I was looking at her like, these girls look beat up. None of their hair is. You mean to tell me African women with all of them wonderful braiding styles that their hair used to be, and all of the styles that they used to wear, that if you watch this movie, these women look like slaves. And they were free women. And these women looked like slaves for the whole movie. None of them looked attractive, really, except the king's women. Those were the only women that were fit, feminine. And I guess the only reason why they were cooperative was because they were being submissive to the king. And they were the only ones that were relatively attractive. And like I say, a few in that king's guard that Viola Davis was command of, they looked decent, but made them all look beat down. So you can't, again, you could, TV is visual. We're trying to create an image that our people look good. We keep giving off these images that our people are just fat, overweight, thick boned, and just don't look well. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Viola Davis's character. I mean, if you hit, and then why is she so old? Why is she so? I guess they wanted to play her when she was an older woman. But I'm gonna be honest with you, you should have plugged Angela Bassett in that role. At least she's fit. And I know you guys are going to get mad at me for that, saying that, but it is the honest to God truth. When you compare our movies to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, House of the Flying Daggers, and if you haven't seen House of the Flying Daggers, look it up. And then there's another one. There's a third one that Michelle Zhang Ziyi played in as well, and I forgot the name of that one. But there's another one out there. And then when you compare it to the 300, if you haven't seen the 300, go look it up. And they even did a sequel to the 300. And you start looking at the movies they do for Africans. They don't show wonderful African palaces. They don't show wonderful African foods. They act like we just didn't, like we were just eating grits and I don't dirt. Well, we always, they don't treat us well in movies. And again, this is done by Gina Prince Bythewood. You're directing this. You should inject and guide these white people. Number one, why are these two white women writing movies for us? Why are they writing the dialogue? I really hate to have to say what I'm saying. And the other thing I want to say too is the only time that there was a moment of, again, there was no love interest in this movie. Again, they're not going to show you any love interactions between blacks on camera. And this is coming from an all black movie with white writers. There was one moment where they did try to build up a little love interest in the characters, and that was between Thuso's character, I think her name is Thuso Mbidi, Thuso's character, and the Portuguese guy. Now, granted, I will say this, he was a black guy, he was Brazilian guy, but again, he's a light-skinned black with nice, or I shouldn't say nice, but with fine hair. And he's built like, in the first time she sees him, he's taking a bath in a lake and he's halfway naked. And this dude is built like the guys in the 300. So the African guys aren't built like that, really. But they show this guy, he has 0% body fat on him. His biceps are nice. Got chest is nice and right. His abs are showing. He's got the long hair, don't care look, light skin, I'm half black. My father is white. My mother is black. Again, there we go with the black woman, white man. It always happens. I always go back to black women being with white men. And that's the only time you see this love interest kind of building up, because in the end, they kind of have like a little, there's no real love connection, but you see the sparks flying. And he's the only man really in this movie that acts quote unquote civilized towards the African women. He's the only one not trying to dominate over them. He's being caring and loving and cooperative with Thuso's character. I can't make this stuff up, dude. But again, I'm going to wrap it up with this because I've talked way too much. But I knew I was going on this one because there was a lot to say about this one. This movie was actually, again, I'm going to say this. If you're just a person, and I try to steer away from critiquing movies because that's not what this is about. This isn't about giving a movie an 8 out of 10 or doing anything like that. This isn't about that. This is about, me dissecting imagery and symbolism in these movies. But I will say this, it was a decent thing to watch. It was watchable. So if you want to watch it, and if you're just a person that just want to watch things and you don't care about how black people look on television, go ahead and watch it. It was a decent watch. But again, I have to point this stuff out because this stuff is continuous in everything we watch. And you'll see the same running theme through all of my other Hollywoods in black and white. Same issues, different characters, different plot lines, different scenery. So drop me a comment. Also, what I want people to do is send me some emails or reach out to me if you want to have a conversation, dialogue, and debate, and we debate on the platform audibly. Send me a comment. I'm willing to do that. And also, if you have any topics that you want me to discuss or comment on, send it to me. But definitely, please comment, like, and subscribe. This is the Political Brown Kid. I hope you enjoyed this Hollywood in black and white on The Woman King. I'm out.